Okay, so I'm looking at a Daily Mail article, and New York City and San Francisco see housing prices plummet, with homes left lingering on the market for months amid COVID-19 pandemic, as demand for rental properties drops in cities across the U.S. Now, none of this is surprising. I mean, that headline really speaks volumes about what this COVID-19 has really done. And it has caused people to lose their jobs. Well, even before that, their lives. And we're not just talking about the disease. I mean, there's probably people that are drinking a lot, fighting. There's a lot of things that come along with something like this because never in my lifetime has something like this occurred where you're on, for all intents and purposes, in jail. You're locked in your home. You can't come out. When you do come out, you're wearing a mask and you have to social distance. It's just, there's a lot going on. And so with that, it's not surprising that New York and San Francisco and probably other parts of the country are seeing housing prices plummet. But let's keep going. Let's read some of the bullets from this Daily Mail article. New York City and San Francisco have seen housing prices fall and homes linger on the market for longer amid COVID-19, according to a Zillow report. Zillow.com is where you can go and, search for properties. It gives you pricing and location and all of that, all of that. The number of houses on the market in NYC, New York City, has surged 6.1%, but buyer demand has not kept pace. San Francisco has seen an even bigger flood on new listings, with homes for sale up 97% this month compared to last year. The data analysis by Zillow found that housing prices in cities have been keeping pace with suburban regions among the pandemic. New York and San Francisco, the two most expensive housing markets, are the exception to the trend. The analysis looked into whether the COVID-19 outbreak has kicked off a boom in typically less expensive suburban areas. An economist said there was no widespread evidence that Americans were buying up properties in the suburbs in a bid to flee cities. Okay, those are all interesting bullets. So let's read a little bit of this. New York City and San Francisco have seen housing prices fall and homes linger on the market for longer amid the COVID-19 pandemic, as demand for rental properties in U.S. cities has dropped nationally. So that's, across the nation, the 50 states, it has dropped. Rental properties has dropped, which makes sense. I mean, people aren't working. People are stuck in their homes. And so you put those two things together and you're going to see that national drop in rental properties. It just makes sense. Despite the initial reports that city dwellers were snatching up homes in the suburbs amid the pandemic, housing prices in urban areas have actually been keeping pace with suburban regions across the country, according to a data analysis by Zillow. The exception to the trend, however, is being seen in New York City and San Francisco, the nation's two most expensive housing markets. Okay. The number of houses on the market in New York City has surged, but buyer demand has not kept pace, according to Street Easy's July market report. Homes for sale in the city's 5 boroughs was 6.1% in early August compared to last year, and the number of rental properties across the city is up 63%. Zillow report says many sellers have accepted offers well below their asking price, and homes are typically lingering on the market longer than usual, almost twice as long as last year in Manhattan alone. That is remarkable. So here's a chart. Inventory change from February 2020 in MSA and city proper. So they're just looking at San Francisco has been an even bigger flood on new listings. Homes for sale is now up 97% this month. So, I mean, people are making a mass exodus, and these charts are proving that. I mean, look at this. It's remarkable. Urban and suburban pending sales trends are relatively even, except in the Northeast. Pending sales changes from February 2020 by urban and suburban zip codes. So, we don't need charts and graphs and all of that. We can just use our common sense, and we know that there is a housing, whether it's rental or purchasing, there's a problem. There is a problem. And how can there not be? The unemployment rate is not what it was before COVID-19. Things aren't booming. Things are slowly coming back, granted, but they're not booming like it was. And it's going to take some time to get there. Let me read just a little bit more of this article. Homes for sale is now up 97% this month in the city compared to last year, and listing prices have fallen 4.9%. The Zillow report shows. The divergence of active sale listings is not evident in cities like Miami, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Seattle, according to the report. And, those are expensive cities to live in. We know that. Very expensive. Both urban and suburban areas have also seen property sales more quickly than they were back in February prior to the pandemic. So, I mean, it's all pretty evident that, as the article says, things are plummeting. The sales and the housing prices are falling, and we're just, it's a recession. We're in a little bit of trouble right now, and there isn't anything that we can do except be hopeful and know that over time it will get better. It's slowly getting back, but when you go outside, you still see people wearing masks and social distancing, and you don't see mass transit packed like it was prior, which is probably a good thing because that wasn't healthy or safe. But my point in all of this is that it's going to take time. And people are either going to stay where they're at right now in their homes and their property, or they're fleeing, like in Portland, Oregon, or New York City, where crime has gone up exponentially, especially in New York City. So, and it's scary because in New York, for example, things are shut down. So there's not that hustle bustle. There's not people milling about. And that's almost, people probably feel safer with more people out on the street milling about, going to restaurants and eating, dining out and shopping, and, moving about, moving through life and enjoying life. Now you don't know, it's sparse. You don't know who you're encountering out on the street when you go outside your doors in some of these larger cities, New York City mainly, because they're still boarded up and their crime is up, and they're talking about defunding of the police. And so all of this is an issue, and it's in the housing is being hit the most. As far as, I don't even know, I can't even say that it's being hit the most, but it's being hit very hard. Joblessness is probably at the top. That's what's being hit the most, joblessness. But again, it is slowly coming back. It's coming back, and we'll be back to where we were. It's just going to take time. So that's it from the Daily Mail. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, please stop back again. And this is the Daily Facts. Take care, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.